The defense has now rested in the federal trial of Sean Diddy Combs. As expected, they did not call any witnesses, and that includes Combs himself.
This is horrible. This is painful. And this is humiliating for any human being to go through.
So, something strange happened today. Amber Heard left the country quietly, suddenly, and without a word. No interviews, no red carpets, no explanations, just gone. And what's really turning heads? The timing. Because let's be honest, it feels anything but random. Her sudden exit comes just as Diddy got hit with serious legal trouble. Now the whispers are growing louder, and people are starting to connect the dots. Was this just a quiet trip, or the opening move in something much bigger? Before we dive in, take a breath, because once we start pulling this thread, there's no telling what secrets will come undone. After weeks of shocking stories, serious accusations, and headline-making testimony, the case of Sean Diddy Combs is now in its final stage, and everyone is watching closely. The biggest claims came from two witnesses who say they were pulled into a dark world behind the scenes of Diddy's glamorous life. One of them was Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend. She spoke about years of emotional abuse, being watched constantly, and being forced into things she never wanted.
She described the freak-offs in lurid detail. She testified about Diddy, who she called Sean, choreographing it all. And she explained a pattern of physical abuse that she could not escape. Cassie told the jury about one freak-off at a hotel where Diddy told her to get into an inflatable pool filled with warm baby oil.
Another woman, known only as Jane, said she was invited to one of Diddy's parties, but quickly realized it wasn't just a party. She described being trapped, scared, and unable to get out.
She says that Diddy forced her to take drugs and that she would be awake for days, that she was taking ecstasy and Molly. And she said on these trips, she was sometimes so high on drugs that she lost her sense of self. Jane has finally taken the stand. Now, we're not allowed to reveal her identity because she's testifying under a pseudonym. She's talking about how she and Diddy first met, how they met in Miami and how he was so sweet and loving, and that he was actually dating a friend of hers at the time, but that the two of them started going on trips to Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas. During her testimony, she's been crying, and it seems like it's been really hard for her to be up there on the stand. She is now talking about how Diddy would make her watch pornography while they were having sex with each other, and that he would talk to her about his fantasies.
The government called these events part of a pattern. Parties that weren't about fun, but about control. They called them freak-offs. Events filled with drugs, pressure, and fear. But Diddy's defense team had a very different story. They said everything was between adults, and no one was forced to do anything. They called the charges over the top and said the women were using regret to make Diddy look like a criminal. They also said the government was making a big deal out of things like party videos and adult items to make him look guilty when he wasn't. Right now, the walls are closing in on Sean Diddy Combs, and fast. Legal experts say the chances of him going to jail are higher than 80%, and it's no longer a matter of if, but when.
Legal team is saying that the government has not met their burden of proof, that they have not proved their case at all, and for that reason, the judge should declare a mistrial.
Now, following the jury's decision to move forward with his arrest, pressure is mounting on all sides. The evidence presented in court, combined with multiple witness testimonies, has painted a deeply troubling picture. And while Diddy's legal team continues to push back, the momentum is clearly no longer in their favor. And insiders say law enforcement is preparing for what could be an immediate move to take him into custody. But as these headlines explode, something even more unsettling is starting to unfold behind the scenes. People are moving, quietly, fast, and under the radar. Some are pulling lawyers, others are pulling passports. And in between these names, there is a name that just slipped out of sight. And that's the name of Amber Heard. Now you might be thinking, what does Amber have to do with Diddy?
This here is from American News Base. It's called Inside Diddy's Los Angeles White Party with Ashton Kutcher, Amber Heard, Chris Brown, and more from September 26, 2024. It's not about race, I'm pretty sure, just everybody wore white, that's it. Now, I gotta tell you guys this off the bat. For whatever reason, they don't mention Amber in this article. But it wouldn't be far-fetched to think that Amber was at one of these parties.
She wasn't named in the courtroom, no direct accusations, no lawsuits. But if you look closer, her timing couldn't be stranger. Just as Diddy's case edges toward collapse, Amber's gone dark. According to flight logs and insider tips, she left the country days ago, not for a film shoot, not for a family visit, and definitely not with her usual publicist spin. No scheduled return, no photos at the airport, just gone. And here's where things start to twist. Multiple sources are saying federal investigators have expanded their scope. They're not just focused on Diddy, they're looking into people around him. People who showed up, stayed late, knew what was happening, but never said a word. Not necessarily criminals, but potential witnesses, possible links, names that appear once, twice, and then more. Amber, reportedly, is one of those names. She's been seen in circles that now feel radioactive. Exclusive parties, A-list hangouts, and private estates that have come up more than once in sealed testimonies. And that's the quiet fear floating through Hollywood right now. Because the moment authorities start flipping names and going down the list, people don't wait to see if they're next. Amber's history with legal drama adds another layer. She knows how public pressure works. She knows what happens when the media storm hits full speed. And most importantly, she knows how fast the internet connects dots, especially the ones no one's supposed to see.
My head was bashing against the back of the bar and I couldn't breathe. And I remember trying to get up and I was slipping on the glass, my feet were slipping, my arms were slipping on the countertop, and I remember just trying to get up so I could breathe, so I could tell him that he was really hurting me. I didn't think he knew what he was doing. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't get through to him, I couldn't get up, I couldn't get up.
Well, for Amber, this isn't the first time she has gone completely off the radar. After the verdict came down in her highly publicized legal battle with Johnny Depp, Amber didn't just go silent, she vanished. One day she was in court, her name trending worldwide, and the next, gone. No interviews, no red carpets, no big PR comeback. She slipped away quietly, leaving the US and moving to Spain with her daughter. For months, there were barely any sightings, just grainy paparazzi photos here and there, usually of her walking through a market or pushing a stroller on a quiet street. At the time, it made sense. She had just endured one of the most brutal public court battles ever broadcasted. Every detail of her life was ripped open for the world to judge. Her reputation took a hit, the media piled on, and the internet turned her into a meme. She needed space. She needed silence. She needed to breathe. But now, as Diddy's legal world crumbles, she's disappeared again. And this time, it feels different. Before, she was leaving because the storm had hit. Now she's leaving in a private plane before the next one arrives.
For a broke woman who can't afford paying for charity because she was sued. The Aquaman starlet emerged for the first time since being on the losing end of the Johnny Depp defamation trial, trading a private jet for a chauffeured car, and that must cost a lot of money, right?
What's really turning heads right now isn't just Amber's quiet vanishing act. It's who from her past has resurfaced in Diddy's present. Dr. Dawn Hughes, the forensic psychologist who testified for Amber Heard during her high-profile trial, is now reportedly connected to the Diddy case. Yes, this is the same expert who sat on the stand analyzing trauma, mental health, and abuse in front of millions of viewers, is now being brought into conversations surrounding Diddy's growing legal storm. Some sources claim she's been consulted behind the scenes. Others say her evaluations may play a role in building the psychological profile around the allegations being leveled against him. And here's where things get unsettling. This isn't just a random crossover, it's a pattern. Dr. Hughes was called in during one of the most intense, emotionally charged trials in celebrity history, a case that blurred the lines between public opinion and legal truth. Now she's hovering near another case built on explosive claims, dark accusations, and reputations on the line. Now, as for Amber, people vanish for different reasons. Some to escape, some to protect, some to survive. And her latest retreat might be all three. Because if Diddy's situation continues to spiral, if names start coming out, if the investigations go deeper than the industry expected, she's already gone, already out of reach. Whether it's fear, strategy, or just a gut instinct, one thing is clear. Amber Heard has vanished again. And like before, she did it just before everything around her started to burn. And that's where we'll leave it. For now. Whatever's coming next, it's already rolling. So hit like, subscribe, and smash that bell, because the next twist might drop any second.